Okay, so Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. So I'm going to continue with our reading topic. Okay, so the topic that we are going to discuss in this lesson is a topic that is very close to us, right? So what do we know about our environment? As I always said to all my students, reading give you awareness. Reading make you understand the situation, and reading helps you to take action and be a better citizen. All right. So I would like to encourage you all to read, especially when it comes to environment issues, because these involve our future generation, our children, right? What are going to happen to us next. Okay, so this matters most in our life. Okay, so now let's continue. Okay, right. So the time of the world in 2019 is 9:46 p.m. I'm not sure whether you have heard of climate clock, right? So if you have or if you aware of global warming, climate change issues, and so on, you should know that there's a clock designed to measure how critical the global warming is now. Okay, so based on the researcher, it stated that our clock is now at 9:46 p.m. Okay, so let me help you to understand. So when you look at the clock, right? So if it is from 1 to 3, we consider that to be safe, right? We are still okay. So 3 to 6, this is what we call we should get worried a bit, right? Anxious. Okay, so we should pay more attention. So 6 to 9, this is where it gets serious. Okay, so action must be taken urgently if the clock shows here. But 9 to 12, so this is where we consider it as a crisis. So now the climate clock is showing 9:46, so it's somewhere around here. All right, 9:46 around here. So this is already a crisis. So we are, it's not even serious anymore, it is urgent. All right, it matter the most in our life. So do know that once it reaches midnight, the world will come to an end. So if the clock strike here, that will be the end of the world. Okay, and for the past years, our clock has always been past 9 p.m. It's always here. All right. So that is why global warming is serious to everyone. It's a crisis for now. Okay. So next, let's have a look at. We have talked about global warming. So how can we connect COVID-19 with environment, with global warming, with climate change, and so on? So the question here is COVID-19 and environmental issues. What do you think? Do you think it is an environmental issues? Do you think it's not? Is it just a medical issues? Is it just a scientific issues? Does it has anything to do with environment? What do you think? Okay, so yeah, let's go back and recap again. Where does it start? Okay, so we all know that COVID-19 start from a marketplace in Wuhan, China. Okay, so and studies had proven that the virus itself is 100% comes from this animal, which is bats. Okay, it comes from the bats. So how does these bats get into the marketplace where people go in and buy their groceries and so on? So how does it happen? How does bats gets to human? Right? So you see, bats, they mostly find their food in the forest, and then they will be hunting near the tall trees in the forest, right? So for the development, you know, for the economy and so on, we destroy forests, we always cut down trees, we want to cultivate the land and turn into farm. Okay, we want to have more land so that we can do factories, manufacturing factories and so on. So basically we destroy a lot of forests, so that means we destroy the natural habitats. When we do that, we do that because we want to have livestock, you know, we want to make our settlement, we want to make housing area and so on. So that is when bats, they will lose their habitat and then they will reach out to us, you know, they will come to us, you know. That is when people started consuming bats, eating bats and so on. So by right, they are not supposed to be in our ecosystem, living ecosystem. They are not supposed to be with us. But because of, you know, human settlement, farming livestock, you know, you want to have a big farm, cows, farms and so on. So you started to went into the forest and, you know, destroy them. Yeah. So that's what human does for a living. Okay. So because this continue to happen throughout the years, COVID-19 is not just a virus that we are going to face in our life. Okay. Researchers predicted that there will be more virus crises, more that is similar to COVID in the future. Why? Because we keep on destroying our natural environment. Okay, the more that we destroy our forests, all these viruses, maybe in the future, not only it comes from bats, it might come from other animal as well, because they just lose their habitat. Okay, so that's how serious things are for now. Okay, right. So it will be something that we have to live with it for the rest of our life. Yeah, because of our selfishness, because we want wealth, right? Because we want better economy. So these are the consequences that we have to live with, right? So COVID is our crisis. Okay, we know COVID is a pandemic. Okay, but just now I mentioned to you global warming. Okay, so global warming is also environment crisis that we are battling for ages. This also matter most to us, and this is also another environment issues that we have to live with it in the future if we do not take action for now. Okay, so I'm not sure whether you have seen this book. There is a book written by Mark Linus, right? 6 Degrees, Our Future on a Hotter Planet. So these books reveal to us what will happen if the temperature rises. Okay, so let's see. If the temperature rises by 1 degree, we will experience serious drought around the world. So it's going to get hotter. We are going to get less water supply, less rain, okay, no water flow, so food cannot be grown, and there will be drought around the world. Okay, this is what happens if the temperature rises by 1 degree. You see, only 1 degree. This is the consequences. Okay, next. If it rises by 2 degrees, what will happen? Many port cities become flooded. We will have major issue with flood. Penang Island might not be there anymore. Singapore might not be there anymore. Alright? So, Polytechnic Seberang Perai might also be submerged in water because of the temperature rises, right, by 2 degrees. So this is what will happen. Alright, now it's getting worse. If it rises by 3 degrees, our earth lung, the Amazon's destruction. Amazon is the biggest forest in the world, right? So it produces oxygen for us human to consume, to breathe, to live, and so on. And if Amazon's is gone, if the sea is gone, right? If the plants in the sea is gone due to different temperature of water and so on, we will not have oxygen. We might have to buy oxygen. And we are not going to be able to live long anymore. Okay? Rises by 4 degrees. Oh my goodness. This is all glaciers melt down completely. When they all melt down completely, the sea level rises. Everything will be submerged, right? And all the sea creatures will die because of different water temperature changes. They lose their food, their habitats and so on. So rises 5 degrees, global weather crisis break out. So bigger tsunami, typhoon, flood, changes of warm weather, cold weather, extreme cold, extreme hot, and so on. So this is what going to happen. And it rises to 6 degrees. With our ozone layer depleted, we will lose it, and the doomsday of the human race. So there will be no more protection from us to the sun, and then we will get burned and so on. Okay, so this is how serious things are when it comes to global warming, when it's come to climate change. See, when you read, you will know what will happen, and you will be able to work to overcome the issues, right? Okay, so in the last 10 years, temperature rises by 0.4 degrees. So we are lucky we haven't seen a rise in 1 degree itself, but it is rising. 0.4 degrees is still a big number. Okay, when the water temperature is warm, it can give more energy to the wind, which causes super typhoons, heat wave, cold wave, and so on. So this is what we are experiencing right now because of the temperature rises, 0.4 degrees, right? The weather get hotter, and because of this, it give energy to the wind, and that is when we experience tornadoes. You heard Malaysia are rarely being hit by such natural disaster, but because of all this climate change and so on, we also falls under the natural disaster itself. We experience typhoon, we experience heat wave, sometimes we also experience cold wave, for countries that experience 4 season countries, The four season itself is getting lesser, right? So uh, they don't experience cold temperature anymore. During the summer, they experience super hot temperature, and all those are changing. Okay, right. So next one, if it rises to 2 degrees, you see from 0.4, if it rises to 2 degrees, places will be gone. Low places will be submerged and gone. Gone, uh, especially those close to the city, to the sea, right? Even for now, there's a small island in Pacific named Kiribati. Many of their residential areas were already submerged, okay, were already under the sea level, okay. It's a worrying issue if the temperature keep on rising and getting warmer. As you can see from the photo, you see the housing area is already under the sea level. They are losing their land, and soon they are losing the island itself. Maldives, we are losing Maldives in another, who knows, 10, 20 years coming, right? So this is serious, okay? So have you heard about greenhouse gases? I think you have heard about greenhouse gases, right? Okay. So what is the main culprit of greenhouse gases? What makes the temperature rises? It's mostly come from the gases that produce in the land, right? So most of the greenhouse gases gases come from methane, carbon dioxide, gases produced by our air con, but what are other gases, okay, that contributed 18% of total emission to the world? It's come from the livestock industry. What is livestock industry? The farming industry, the industry, food industry, chicken, beef, all your nuggets, all your fried chickens, all your steaks. Those industries contributed to greenhouse gases and contributed to the rising of the temperature, because it has energy, it produces energy, all the factory to process the meat, to process the food, to package them, to deliver them. So we are all using electricity, we are all using energy, and those contributed the most to the greenhouse gases, which make our ozone layers depleted, right? So maybe we should, think of eating less beef meat, you know, um, eat more veggies. If you want to start a business, try not to venture into business that produces more gases to the world, right? Okay. Now, another thing, now this involves everyone. I think I am guilty of doing this. I believe you all are also guilty. I'm not sure, right? I hope we can all overcome this thing, take action and do something. So storing emails polluted the environment. Do you agree with this? Do you know that if you store your emails, if you have thousands of emails in your Gmail, if you have, hundreds of emails and you just don't read them, you just save them, it is polluting the environment. Do you know that? Now, why? Why does that happen? Okay, let's see. Okay, so this is the justification. If you keep your email, it will be stored in a database server somewhere, right? So all your emails, your thousands of unread emails or read emails that you keep in your Gmail, it is stored in a database server somewhere. And those data server give off heat. So they turn on the server, it is continuously on using electricity, and that give off heat, all right? And there are roughly around 2.3 billion email users in the world, including you, including me, including all of us, right? So if 2.3 billion each deleted 50 emails, imagine if all of us take a time, delete our email, right? We can save up to 8.625 million gigabyte storage, right? And save 276 million kilowatts. So, in other words, it's like turning off 2.7 billion bulbs, right? Light bulbs. As simple as that. So, people, start delete your emails now. If you don't go back to it, just delete them. Why keeping it? Right? So do not store your emails anymore. Take the action now, 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 now. Right? Okay? I will do that as well. I will take my time. I will delete all my email. I want you to do that as well. Okay? Next, remember that in anything that you do, you are spending some kind of energy. In our life, we switch on a lot of things in order for us to do our work. So if we do not need them, switch it off. That's how important it is. That helps to reduce the global warming, reduce the energy use, and reduce the temperature. If you don't start doing this, you are going to experience hot weather worse than what you are experiencing now. Okay? So that's how important it is. Switch it off. As simple as that. Plug it out, switch it off if you are not using them. And if you don't need them, don't use it at all. Okay? Now, I have talked about greenhouse gases. I have talked about email, energy, and so on. Another major problem is the issue of plastic waste, right? Plastic is what we use every single day. Now, it's easy to produce plastic. Basically, it takes only 5 seconds to be produced at the factory. But it takes up to 500 years to be decomposed. That's how bad plastic is to our environment. A person can use up to 98 kilos plastic a year, especially those who live in Korea, who live in United States, because of the culture for food delivery. I think Malaysia as well, we has been introduced, especially your generation, you know, you are very familiar with Food Panda, Grab Foods, and so on. So ordering food to be delivered to your house is common. So all those food are being packed using plastic container, right? And especially during COVID, a lot of people are using the service. So the number of plastic use increases, right? So there will be more plastic covered in the sea by 2050. Now that's bad. Okay, all our sea are going to be covered by plastic, especially in 2050. That's only 30 years from now. Okay, we can recycle plastic. I know you heard a lot of this myth, right? People always say we can recycle plastic, we can always, send it to recycle center, but honestly, it's a difficult process. You have to, there's a mechanism for you to do before you can send them to be recycled. And most of the plastic that you throw will end up as garbage. It cannot be recycled at all, right? So, okay, have a look at this 6 item. We have name card, we have water bottle, mineral bottle, we have hangers, we have CDs, we have pillows, right? Cushion pillows, and then we have toothbrush. What do you think? Can we recycle all this? You see, this is paper, this is fabric, this might be steel, aluminium, there's a steel inside here, this is plastic. So all those seems like, yeah, I heard those material can be recycled, right? So what do you think? Can we recycle all these items, all these 6 items? Or maybe we can recycle 5 of them? Or maybe we can recycle only 4 of them? What do you think? How many can be recycled? Yeah, if you say 5, if you say 4, if you say 3, you are wrong. That's not the case. The only item that can be recycled is water bottle. But even to recycle that water bottle, you must empty and clean, take out the label and separate the cap and bottle. That's how you recycle the water bottle just now. So that means if you look at this one, you need to take out the label. This has to be removed, okay? And then you have to remove the cap because it's different material, okay? And you have to empty them and you have to clean them before it can be processed for recycling. If you just throw it like this cannot be recycled. It will be a hard process, and most of the factory, they do not process a bottle like this to be recycled. Okay, so as for name card, even if it is made of paper, but not all paper can be recycled, right? Don't think that everything made out of paper is possible to be recycled. That's not the case. So if a paper cup has a layer of plastic to print label, then it cannot be recycled. Your yogurt cup especially, it has aluminium foil on top, and you have to really clean up the foil, which is very difficult because it has been glued to the cup itself, right? So it cannot be recycled, period. Your Starbucks drinks, what's in a Starbucks cup? Starbucks cups cannot be recycled in most facilities because the inside plastic lining clogs the equipment. So a lot of paper cup cannot be recycled. Name card cannot be recycled even though it is paper. Okay, hangers. It has rubber coating outside, still inside, so it's very hard for you to remove. That is why it cannot be recycled. So all those items cannot be recycled except for water bottle. Still, you have to do it the right way. Okay? So, only 21% of items sent to recycle center can be recycled because the rest are dirty or mixed with others. If you don't clean before you send it, it is just garbage. Not beneficial, right? Okay. So, how are we going to overcome this issue? You guys are consumer. We are all consumer. We are all buyer. We are all user, so we have the power. Consumer has the power to change, reduce buying product with plastic packaging, and pay more attention to mark and label of company that support using environmental friendly ingredients in their product. So pay more attention. Buy the product that has all these green symbol, green label. You know, all this company, they work closely to help the environment, you know. So support this product. If you stop buying product that does not support environment, in the end, their sales are going down and they have to start paying more attention to the environment, and they will change. They will change because you want them to change. So that is your power. Stop buying product that does not support the environment, and then whenever possible, because we want to reduce using plastic, you have to bring your own container, bring your own bag. Whenever you want to buy your teh ice, you know, your iced tea, you bring your own tumbler. Whenever you want to buy your nasi lauk, your fried rice and so on, you bring your own container. That will help to reduce. Even though 1%, it does make a difference, right? And the next thing is to plant more trees and support environment program. It's a good hobby, you know, to start planting more trees. It helps, right? You contributed just a little, but it make a difference. So there has been many green programs conducted for the past 10 years, right? And we have seen changes because in 2018, the climate clock is at 9:47. So in 2019, the climate clock is at 9:46. So the clock moved back by 1 minute last year. So if we continue this effort, we can fight global warming. Every person can play your role in order to reduce global warming, you know, reduce the climate change, the temperature rising, and hopefully we can all be, you know, below 9 p.m., you know, we can help to overcome global warming. Okay, so just now I did mention about COVID-19 is an environmental issues, right? Why it is an environmental issues? Now let's go back to this issue. The number one search word during this pandemic is COVID blues or depression. So during this pandemic, not only it is an environmental issues, but on top of it, it also an issues in our life when it comes to our emotion. When people stay at home for too long, they get sick and lonely because they are inactive. They cannot meet up with others, you know, you cannot go and talk to your friend face to face, you cannot mingle around, you know, all those has been a problem, especially the millennials, all right? So with all the pandemic of COVID-19, with all the pandemic of global warming, all right, with all the pandemic of the plastic waste, all the problems, we have to know that whenever we have a crisis, always turn the crisis into opportunity. Now there's a proverb says that a stumbling block into a stepping stones, right? So you turn any crisis into opportunities. By doing this, you will not feel depressed, right? You will not get worried. too much, and it will push you to take action to overcome the pandemic. Okay, so how it is proven? Look back at the history. The history has proven that we can all overcome this pandemic. When you turn the crisis, so from danger into opportunity, crisis mean a turning point for danger and opportunity, right? Okay, so those days there has been few pandemics that happened, okay, like the plague and the Black Death and so on. So the world has experienced bigger pandemic even before COVID happened. So during that time, it is even worse because if you get the plague, there's 50% to 90% chances of death, right? It killed a third of the world population. I think this happened during the 14th centuries. So even though it is the biggest pandemic a world has experienced, mostly in the European countries and so on, but because of those pandemic, human change and started to develop, right? This vaccine was developed, people started to find ways to treat plagues and so on. They started to study human studies started to take place more, right? Democracy become a way of ruling. It is going towards human choose who they want their ruler to be, no more of the um, mm, um, uh, the different ways of it, right? And humans started to change their thinking into believing that working hard can change the quality of their life instead of waiting for faith and destiny. Because people in those days, they believe that God will plan their life the way God planned, right? They just wait and they do not want to do much to improve the quality of their life. But after the pandemic, they know that only they can change the quality of their life. They can continue praying, they can rely on God, but at the same time, they also have to work hard. Because when you work hard, you can see the effects of it, right? So history has proven that throughout a pandemic, uh, we can turn it into opportunity. Okay, so even now with the COVID pandemic, we cannot complain much and grumble. We must keep our respect, our self-respect and courage to overcome it. We must become one when we face a crisis. Okay, there are no more pointing fingers at the people to be blamed. We are all in this together. We must have faith in each other. We must giving away, give a lot. Don't only, because giving is active action. When you give, you allow others to also continue giving, return back the favor to you and so on. If you are the person who only take, it's very passive. Taking is very passive, right? That's why you have to be giver instead of takers. So give a lot, help a lot, have consideration, do not judge people all the time, show kindness, be kind to others, unity, get together as one, serving each other. We have to always use our energy um, for the better life, all right? Make sacrifices and give support. Support the locals. You see, during the COVID itself, you see a lot of people come together. They do the PPE suit, right? They start sewing the face mask. They start donating their money to help people. Even last week, when it was announced that IPTA, all students from IPTAs, they are not coming back, a lot of organization, they started collecting money to help the students. So all these act of kindness, unity, togetherness, giving away and so on. So these will be helpful for us to overcome the crisis. Be patient and show commitments towards a successful public health, because we are all responsible for it. Public health is our responsibility. Everyone have to follow the SOP, wear the mask, practice social distancing. So by following all those, you will definitely helps contributed to the successful public health, all right, for us to overcome the COVID, to reduce the number and so on. So all this must happen in order for us to overcome this pandemic. Okay, so all in all, have courage, be passionate, stay united, dreams high, have hopes, and look forward to the future. Now that is what we all must focus on. People, this is not the time for you to be lazy. This is not the time for you to blame others. This is the time for you to move, take action, right? Give positiveness to the world instead of negative thinking. That should be put aside. So I hope that's all for me. I hope all of you can take in as much as you can from this lesson. We can all change together. We can all be a better citizen to our country, to earth, right? We can all do our parts to help overcome global warming, climate change, this pandemic together. Thank you. That's all from me. See you next time.